One, praise and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahshua Bashim Kakadash. Uh, double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, and citations to you all can teach all truth and sincerity. Um, this can be called We Are at the End of Esau's World. So, I'm gonna read this is Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 4. It says, One generation passeth away, another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. Because when when the ICB and nuclear missile fire rains down on Babylon and other parts of the earth, um that will be the end of the Gentile rulership that's ruling the earth right now. It'd be the end of the elites being in power, end of Esau's rulership. Because Esau is ruling. He's in power right now, ruling the planet Earth. Um, he has the most influence over the planet Earth because he is in ruling now in power. Because America is Rome 2.0. Um, you know, the Western world is influencing the entire Earth. Um, and uh, so you know when you know when those missiles drop upon Babylon, it's not going to destroy the entire Earth. It's only going to destroy Babylon the Great, which is America, and it will destroy the land of Israel because missiles and fire will be brought upon that land of Israel and will destroy the land of Israel, and the land of Israel will be rebuilt by the Gentiles, by the heathens that become our slaves. But America will never be inhabited. Um, it will not be dwelt in again by people. Only the desert creatures will dwell over here in America. But Israel, it may get destroyed, but it will be rebuilt and will be rebuilt as the Garden of Eden, and will be a kingdom made of pure gold and precious stones. And that will be where the kingdom of heaven is going to. That's the headquarters of the kingdom of heaven. Will be the land of Israel. Um, but yeah, the earth will abide forever. I'm gonna move on and go to Matthew chapter 24. I'm gonna read verse 3. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 3. And let me go to the settings because how shy. This is him speaking. Um, it says, and he sat upon the Mount of Olives. The disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. Um, and and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, seeing that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginnings of sorrows, and we're seeing those things come to pass. There's civil unrest, um There's earthquakes in diverse places. There's rumors of wars. We're in World War III. Jacob's trouble is coming. There's gonna be um nations rising up against each other. These heathen nations who are over in um Asia, in the land of Asia, they're gonna turn against America, which is Babylon, and burn this place with those ICBM nuclear missiles, which is World War III is going to be a nuclear war, and this place, America, will not survive this nuclear war that's vastly coming upon us as we get close to the end of this year, because at the end of this year they're implementing the draft, you know, and I believe that the draft has made men who are 45, the oldest age that you can be in the military now is 45. um because they raised up the age for the draft, so it's from 18 to 45 now. It's not just 18 to 26. Like, they're trying to draft seasoned veterans into the military for this war. And if you get drafted into this World War III, and you accept the 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 assignment, you're not coming back. You're going to die in this war. That is, you're signing your death right then and there, because you're not going to come back. You're not going to survive this war. Because it is a nuclear war, and you know you're gearing up to fight against their heavenly Father's Son, which his name is Yahweh. In the because when Yahweh shows up over there, because he's gonna come from the east to the west to come to the west, so he's gonna show up over there, and you're going to fight against him. Because but anyway, there will be a famine. There, pestilence is coming. Because there's gonna be a famine of the word, but there's also gonna be a literal famine that's gonna happen because food shortages, um, supply shortages. They closed the Strait of Hormuz. That hasn't opened up. Um, so there's gonna be many supply shortages across this entire continent, across the states. Um, like the scriptures say, the stone places shall become empty. The many grocery stores that have supplies now, all those shelves soon are going to become uh, empty shelves. In those stores. Supplies that, like medicine and you know usually you see abundance of medicine, abundance of different supplies. All that stuff is going to become scarce in these stores pretty soon. But anyway, I'm gonna move on to Second Esdras, um, chapter 6, and then start at verse 7. This Second Esdras chapter 6, verse 7. It says, "Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting asunder of times, and when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob Esau was born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And Esau is the end of a wicked age, a wicked rulership, a time of the wicked in power, ruling in wickedness. The Lord set up Esau, the base of all man, the basis of man, to show how not to rule, to show how the wicked rule, how the people shall mourn. You know, you know, like like Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. The world is lying in wickedness, and how the world is, while it's lying in wickedness, people are miserable. Turtles have herpes. They poison the air, the water, the food. You know, there's devastation everywhere. Everybody's in mourning, including nature, because the wicked are in rulership. They're ruling and they're ruling and ruining and destroying all creation, from the nature to the food. They're poisoning everything that is needful for survival. And while they're in rulership, nobody is happy, including nature. Everybody's in mourning. um I'm gonna go to, so when Jacob, like it says, I'm gonna go back to that because when Jacob gets put back in power, when the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and who are the Israelites, when we're put back in power, in a righteous, immortal body, where we have our eyes are open to everything, we're given the full understanding, um, the full, um, download of every lifetime that we experienced, and we given the righteous instruction on how to govern the earth in righteousness. Everybody's going to be rejoicing. Everybody's going to be in a happy, beautiful state of mind, because the righteous are in authority, and we're ruling the earth in righteousness, and our kingdom is going to last forever, and our world will never end. It will be a righteous existence that will be a whole brand new world. In this world that was once, you know, you know, the world knew, they're going to, what's the word? Um, they're gonna be, this world is not gonna be is not gonna be it's gonna change to the better. The world that we knew before will be the past. The future is Jacob will be ruling forever. Um, and because Yahweh Shai will set up the immortal righteous, uh, his righteous children to rule the earth forever. The earth will be ruled by immortals in the future to come, and that's Jacob's world. But I'm gonna go to Daniel chapter 2 and verse 44. It says, and in the days of these kings shall the Most High of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. And that's the kingdom of Jacob, the kingdom of the Israelites. That is Yahweh Shai's kingdom, which is the kingdom of heaven, will be set up and will consume all these kingdoms, which he'll bring down all these kingdoms, these Gentile kingdoms that are in rulership now, instead of the kingdom of heaven, which will last forever, which is the kingdom of Israel. And that kingdom will last forever. I'm gonna go back to Second Esdras, chapter 9, and read verse 1. Second Esdras chapter 9, verse 1 says, He answered me and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, when thou seest the part of the signs past, which I have told thee before. It says, Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And the signs we see are the earthquakes, the uproars of the people, the different hurricanes. All these signs are signs that the Lord is visiting the earth. He's letting loose upon the earth because he's uh we're one day close to his son's return. Um and his son we're one day closer to the kingdom of heaven being established on earth and righteousness reigning forever. Read verse 3. When there when there shall be earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou will understand. That the Most High spake of those things from the day that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world has a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, because the he declared the end from the beginning, in old times. Because the same with Esau and Jacob, they were talked about before they came into existence. He always declared the end from the beginning, and talked about certain things before he brought them into existence. That's how Yahweh operates. That's how Yahweh Shah operates. Um, I'm gonna read verse 6. Even so, the times also the Most High have plain beginnings and wonders, and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. Because you know, um, because Esau was made um the antagonist character, um, and Jacob was made the protagonist character. Um, you know, and because Esau was Cain and Jacob was Abel, and Cain had to pay for his um, transgression against his brother Abel. He had to. So Esau will be paid back for that transgression, and he also paid back for his transgressions against the nation of Israel, because we are the seed of Abel. We are Abel's